Hey guys, it's Cecile. Welcome back to my channel. If you don't know who I am, I'm an incoming freshman at Brown University from Toledo, Ohio. And basically, I have this entire YouTube channel to basically share advice that I wish I knew in high school. And I try to basically say things as straightforward as possible. I don't like sugarcoating things, and I tell you how it is. So yeah, that's pretty much this entire channel. But today's video particularly is going to be all about the why school essay. So I'm going to be sharing the tips and tricks for writing this essay since you're going to have to write it a lot. And these are just the things that helped me and the things that I heard from friends that helped them. And I'm excited to share them with you all. So let's get started. Okay, so since we are on the topic of essays and everything, if you happen to watch my Common App essay reading video, which I will link below, you will notice that in this video I basically talked about this organization where first generation and low income students can get their essays reviewed completely for free from start to finish, as many essays as they want, and I said that it would be coming soon. But if you haven't been able to look back at that video or you don't follow me on Instagram, even though you should, I just want to let you guys know that this organization is live. I co-founded it with my friend Brandon, who's also at Brown right now, and it's called Notable Narratives. So follow us below on Instagram at notable.narratives, and make sure to follow me on Instagram to keep up with everything new I basically want to share with you guys. But this organization is FGLI students basically helping out other FGLI students, because I know that the ones of you that are first generation, whether you're a first generation American or you're just a first generation college student, you don't get a lot of information about the process, and we're basically here to help you get through that. Additionally, if you're a low income student, you don't have access to all these resources that other people do have to help them with essays and to get revisions and reviews and everything. So once again, we want to help mitigate your worries a little bit and share some advice that helped us. So I really hope you guys can check that out if you are applicable and you qualify for the program. So when you're writing a why this school essay, I'm pretty sure you all know that you want to be unique. You want to talk about things that basically are applicable to you and how they connect to school. So like if you're interested in medicine, you'd talk about the opportunities in medicine at that school, how you'd grow in there, stuff like that. Like I'm pretty sure you guys all know that, but I want to talk about the tips that like people don't really talk about, or the things that will help you stand out, instead of just like using imagery, describing specific things, and like all this general stuff that people tell you to do. The first thing I want to say right away is don't start your essay saying like, this is my dream school, I really hope I can attend, or something like that, because I've seen people do that. And like I reviewed a lot of essays and it just like seems corny. Like they get it, they know you really want to go there, otherwise you wouldn't be applying. So you really don't have to like emphasize that it's your dream school or anything like that, because I don't think that pathos is really going to play out into the admissions office's mind. Instead, you need to show them why you'd be an asset to that school, why they need you, why they need to accept you. Okay, so like I know you guys have like 100 to 300 words usually to write this essay. I mean, like some schools like Cornell, you have like 700, 650 words or something like that to write this essay, but normally you don't have a lot of room, so you can't just ramble on about one specific thing. Rather, you have to mention a lot of different things the school has that you really like and the reasons why you really want to go there, as you know. So what I was talking about when I mentioned specificity is basically talking about the classes that you're interested in, the classes you'd like to take, as well as the professors that you look up to at that school. So when it comes to the classes you're interested in, honestly, you can just look up the school and then course catalog right after it on Google, and you can find a list of all the classes that are available to students that currently go there. And what I mean by this is basically like you go through the website and you find these classes and you look through, see what appeals to you, and then mark them down somewhere. I would like make an extra comment somewhere on your essay doc, just so you can mention those if you do get the chance, if you do have the words, because it shows that you're actually interested in the school. You're looking up the classes they have, you're looking up the different opportunities they have, and I think it shows interest. And when it comes to professors, honestly, if you look up professors in like different departments that you're interested in talking to or taking classes with, because the two go like one-on-one, like interested classes and interesting professors and all that stuff, you can talk about the professors that you would want to do research with and like why their research is basically appealing to you, because some people might have done research on certain topics in high school and maybe they want to extend that through college so they could like make that connection right there. Or maybe you just want to explore a new topic and you think that professor has a great topic that you'd be interested in. Talk about these different things, but use specific names of the classes and the professors and even fellow students if you've talked to students before and they've like described the class environment enough or the school environment enough that you feel comfortable sharing different details that really make you want to apply to that school. At the same time, though, I would not waste like more than 2 sentences talking about this stuff, like unless you have the room and this is a giant like Cornell, like why Cornell, why UPenn essay, because I know those are really long. But like otherwise, like you don't need to fill up your entire space saying like, oh, my sister goes to school and she says that this professor's amazing and these courses are amazing, this. When I'm talking about like you interviewing like students that actually go there, I meant like maybe a sentence or two just so you can describe like what was so appealing. Like for me in my U Chicago essay, I talked about how when I visited, I talked to someone who was basically a math major, but he was also involved in like a coding club and like the anime club, and he was a skateboarder. Like he did a ton of different things. And for that reason, I talked about how Chicago is a unique place where students can pursue their different interests. Like you don't have students just doing math, you don't have students just doing computer science, you have students basically doing things from all different subjects, all different passions that they're interested in. This is like also applicable to Brown with open curriculum and everything. But like those kinds of connections, like real world conversations and real world things that you saw, and like connecting that to why you want to go there and how you'd fit in at that super diverse environment where you do pursue a ton of your different passions and different subjects and activities, like that really shows that you're interested in the school. That shows exactly why, and it explains it. If you don't get the chance to visit a school and like talk about these experiences though, it's honestly fine. You can usually like find someone that actually goes to school through Instagram or YouTube or LinkedIn or any of that stuff. My trick, if you want to talk to someone like that goes to school and like maybe get some advice, is I would look up like hashtag Brown 2024 if I wanted to talk to a freshman, or like hashtag Brown 2023, hashtag Brown Play Me, stuff like this. Like if you look up the school and then the year after, you're bound to find people that go there, just because everyone on Instagram will share their acceptances and like the picture of them basically committing on May 1st or even earlier than that. So I definitely think that's a great way to network, to find new people. And I'm not gonna lie, like I've done this before. I've literally DM'd them like flat out and been like, hey, so I have all these questions, could you answer them? Like, could we like talk over text, call, FaceTime? Like, don't be afraid, because the thing is, the worst thing they can say is no. Like, other than that, like you really aren't losing anything by asking. And if they don't say anything that you can use in your essay, that's fine. Like, you don't have to talk about it. But if they say something and you really think that it would be something you'd be interested in, it'd be great. And the thing is, when you talk to students that actually go there, you definitely get a new perspective of the school. I learned about programs that I didn't even know about, like whether it was looking them up online or looking the school up on social media. Like I didn't know about any of these programs, yet current students were aware of these opportunities because they were either involved in them or they just heard about them and they were able to share them with me. And when you know about programs that aren't super like advertised and stuff, it really shows that you did your research. It shows that you know what you're looking for. So talking to students can help you in more than one way. And even if you talk to the student and they don't really help you, you could actually get a sense of if you actually want to go to that school. What I mean by that is, if you're talking to someone at Brown per se, sorry, I keep using Brown as an example because that's what I'm familiar with, and they are talking about the open curriculum and like all this fun stuff that Brown has, and you're like, shoot, like I'm really not like super interested in studying all this stuff. Like I don't need all these different subjects. I just want to study my major. Like why are they making it so complicated for me? Then suddenly you realize like, oh, that name doesn't really mean anything because the fit isn't there. And so talking to students can help you realize what the environment's like, what students are like, because to be honest, the culture at a school is a huge thing, and you can't really know about the culture just by looking it up and like reading those fancy catalogs they send to your house, because of course they're going to tell you like all the best things, but you need to know about the highs and the lows and like everything in between. And so for that reason, I would definitely reach out to a student. And if any of you guys want to reach out to me, I will reply to you. I'm telling you right now. And I'd love to talk to you guys and help you through the process with schools that I am familiar with, especially the one that I'm going to. Another thing I want to mention is when you actually talk to a student about the school, to like actually like ask them questions and stuff, one of the biggest things that I would ask is like, what are the traditions at your school? Because that's something that you can talk about in your essay. Like, because the thing is, obviously you like the academics of the school, but at the same time, you care about the culture. Like, I would care about the culture. You want to know about the fun traditions at the school. You want to know about the things that kids do that keep them connected to the school, like whether it's yearly things, bi-yearly, like quarterly, it really doesn't matter. But knowing about these traditions can be a great way to integrate something new into your essay and show that you've also done your research. I know there's certain things that are like super well known. Like I know a lot of schools have those primal screams. I think that's U Chicago Northwestern, but I'm actually not sure. Like where all the students like scream before exams, like all at once. Brown's weird. Like we don't really like have a lot of traditions. We have one. It's really strange. It's called the Naked Donut Run, and like students just run around naked like before exams, just handing out donuts. I don't know why that's a tradition, but like that's something we have. I didn't mention that in my essay. I can't mention that in my essay because that just sounds weird. Like, I'm looking forward to watching people like run around naked, giving me food. Like, yeah, I don't know. So you can pick and choose with that, but there are definitely some school traditions that could be super like interesting and useful to talk about. When I'm writing an why essay, I also make sure to talk about all the local opportunities at that school, because the thing is, a school is important, but also the city around it is too. This doesn't mean that if you're applying to Columbia, you should be like, oh my gosh, like I love NYC, like this is why I want to go to Columbia just because NYC, because at the same time, an admissions officer will read that and be like, okay, why don't you go to NYU or like SUNY or something like that? Like, you don't have to go to Columbia to go visit NYC. So that's not what I mean. I'm talking about the local opportunities that are maybe associated with that school. Because, for example, I know a lot of consulting firms like do job advertisements at Ivies. They have like job fairs, stuff like that. It's just kind of known. There are certain connections and there are certain opportunities that come with every single school. Like, if you go to Case Western or something, you have direct access to the Cleveland Clinic. That's something that a lot of pre-med students like take advantage of. So talking about these opportunities can be super vital because it shows that not only are you interested in the school, you're interested in what the school has to offer for your professional life and your career. But along that line, like I would also talk about what you can offer to the school, because at the same time, like you're going to school, you're learning, you're taking stuff from them, but what are you going to bring back? Like, what do you contribute to that environment? Like, when you're writing a why essay, you have to talk about why they should accept you out of all the other people that are just like you, that also love all these things. Because the thing is, there are only so many things that people can talk about in these essays. Like, everyone's going to talk about the classes, the professors, the traditions, all that stuff. You also need to mention, like, why you specifically would be a huge asset to the school. So something that I really capitalized on when I was writing my why essays was basically saying, like, I'm a really quirky person. Like, I will go around campus telling people about parasites and explaining the birthday paradox and like weird things like that. And I was basically like emphasizing the fact that like I don't really care to talk about my passions because they're things that I care about and I'm happy to share them with others, even if I'm gonna get like judgmental stares or something like that. So like showing little things like that, or maybe you're like a guitarist and you want to expand lessons to a local community that doesn't have a lot of outreach or something like that. Like, talk about what you can bring to the table as much as you talk about what you can take from them. Okay, so this last thing I'm going to talk about might not actually be applicable to all of you guys, but I'm going to say it anyways. What you should talk about in your why essay, other than everything I've said, is basically experiencing a different part of the world. What I mean by that is if you're from a rural town in Kansas or something and you're applying to a school in a super big city, it's definitely like really important to emphasize that you bring a totally new perspective to the school. You're coming from a completely different environment, and for that reason, like, you'd be different than everyone else that is applying from like a city or a suburb and things like that. So like for international students, you guys can definitely emphasize the way that you've grown up and like the perspectives that you've had and how you can bring those to the campus as much as you can like take everything from the campus, because you've had completely different experiences growing up. So you can definitely take advantage of this new environment in the USA and all the opportunities that come with it. So if this is applicable to you, then that's a great thing to bring up. But like if you live in a huge city and you're going to another huge city, it might not be as important. Another thing I would also talk about is if you're super close at school, it might be good to talk about the hometown connection that you have to that school. So for example, I know someone that's like in Providence, like 5 minutes away from Brown. So for them, they've grown up basically on the campus. They've seen all the events, they've participated in all the community activities, the outreach that the school has done for the local high schools and middle schools and elementary schools, all that stuff. So basically growing up with that connection with a school, it helps you in the long run because you're able to basically justify why you want to go to that school, because you want to like stay with your community, you want to do things for your community, stuff like that. So like if you're going to a local school, that might be great to bring up. Like, you want to stay close to home, you want to continue to help your city, your community, etc. Do the things that they did for you while you were growing up. Okay, so I just realized I forgot to film a closing, but like same thing as usual. Thank you for watching my channel. Subscribe if you want to see more videos because I'm going to be posting weekly, especially since I'm at home for the fall now. And thank you so much. Comment if you have any questions, DM me if you want any like insight directly, and I appreciate you guys. Hope to be back with a new video.